Captain Davis ducked below the crater rim as another barrage of searing plasma struck the lunar surface. He gritted his teeth, willing his hands to stop shaking inside his spacesuit gloves. The small human outpost they were defending wouldn't last much longer under this blistering assault. "Alpha Team, status report," he barked into his helmet mic. Static answered. Davis felt acid churn in his stomach. He switched to the direct channel for Lieutenant Tanaka, his trusted second-in-command who was leading Alpha Team's defense at Quadrant 4. "Tanaka, do you copy? What's your situation?" More static, punctuated by the faint crackle of gunfire. Then Tanaka's voice cut through, strained with effort. "Pinned down by 2 enemy cruisers. These freaks are trying to flank us with ground troops, requesting air support on my coordinates." Davis tightened his jaw. The aliens had come out of nowhere, ambushing the lunar early warning systems and slipping past Earth's defenses in a massive beta ship. Now, they were focused on wiping out humanity's vulnerable lunar mining colonies, using ruthless coordinated attacks to swamp the outgunned defenders. Davis switched to the command channel and hailed the Perseus, their only remaining air support craft still in fighting shape after the initial ambush. "Perseus, Captain Davis here. Lieutenant Tanaka needs immediate air support at Quadrant 4. They're in danger of being overrun." "Copy that, Captain," came the pilot's strained reply. "But we've taken heavy damage too. I'll get there as soon as I can, but it's going to be close." Davis pounded a fist against the inside of the crater in frustration. They just needed to buy a little more time. Unbeknownst to the aliens, help was on the way from Earth if his forces could just hold on. He switched back to Tanaka's channel. "Support is on the way, Lieutenant. Just dig in and keep them busy a little longer. We're not done yet." Tanaka's reply was obscured by weapons fire and alien shrieks. Davis strained to make out the words. "I'll hold them, as long as I can. For all of us. Tanaka out." Davis felt icy dread creep down his spine at Tanaka's ominous last words. He couldn't lose him. Not one of Earth's best young officers who'd sacrificed so much and kept Alpha Team fighting against all odds. Davis steeled himself. He would buy Tanaka the time he needed. The aliens had brought war to humanity's doorstep, but they were about to witness the fury of the human spirit firsthand. "Bravo Team, on me!" Davis shouted, breaking cover from the crater and igniting his plasma rifle. "We're taking the fight right back to them." He pointed his weapon at the towering alien beta ship dominating the lunar horizon. "Target their flagship and give them everything you've got." Bravo Team let loose a battle cry and opened fire. Davis added the fury of his own plasma blasts, even as alien return fire kicked up moon dust all around them. They just needed to buy a little more time. General Akira stared grimly at the scan projections as another squadron of fighters blinked out near the moon. Earth's deep space early warning net had failed to detect the aliens' stealthy approach, and now the lunar colonies were paying the price. First had been the scattered reports of unknown attacks beyond the moon's dark side. Then, all contact had been lost with the vital mining outposts on the lunar surface. The aliens had achieved total surprise against humanity's unprepared defenses. But Akira knew this was only the beginning. As Earth's Space Force Supreme Commander, he was all too aware of the vulnerabilities they now faced. The lunar bases were just the appetizer. Planet Earth was the real prize the aliens sought, and the politicians were ready to give it to them. "General, we've received a new offer of surrender from the alien envoy," said the nervous adjutant. "They demand our immediate and unconditional capitulation, or else face complete destruction." Akira's face contorted in disgust. "Tell those alien butchers we will never surrender." The politicians in the room gasped and murmured. The Prime Minister stood, his face pale but resolute. "General, though your bravery is admirable, we simply lack the resources for a successful resistance. We must consider accepting surrender terms to save as many innocent lives as possible." Akira trembled with barely suppressed rage. Lives had already been lost, and surrender would only doom more. He thought of the dead pilots, of trapped miners making their last stand on the moon, and he thought of his own children, vaporized in the initial attacks along with their mother. No, surrender was not an option. "With respect, Prime Minister, the only good bug is a dead bug," Akira growled. "We must attack now with our newest warship while the aliens are still consolidating their position." The Prime Minister sighed but conceded the point. "Very well, General. We will proceed with your plan, but know that our hopes go with you until the very end." Akira tightened his jaw in determination. The untested warp fighter Vanguard was Earth's last desperate hope, armed with illegal AI-controlled plasma weapons. He would lead the counterattack himself. Leaving the politicians behind, he made his way to the flight deck with brisk strides. Pilots and technicians stood proudly at attention, showing none of the fear that infected the political class. These were his people. "No time for speeches! Let's fly!" Akira bellowed, donning his flight suit. The time for vengeance had come. For his children, for lost ones like Lieutenant Tanaka, for the whole of humanity. Launching into cold space, Vanguard jumped instantly into warp towards the moon, towards destiny. The alien butchers had sown the wind. Now they would reap the whirlwind. The alien general gazed impassively at the projection map, studying the pestilent blue world it displayed. A world now in his grasp. "Their main fleets have been destroyed or scattered, General," reported his sub-commander. "The lunar colonies have all been wiped out as you ordered. Earth stands ready for conquest." The general nodded, his dark, bulbous eyes reflecting no emotion. "Yet there remains resistance, disruptions to our invasion timetable." His sub-commander hesitated. "Yes, but only small pockets remaining. They have no hope of stopping our advance. Surely now is the time to begin the final assault." The general fixed his lieutenant with a cold stare, and the smaller alien withered under the intensity. "You underestimate these humans. They are primitive, yet possess an admirable tenacity. Like sewer rats gnawing through ossified excrement, they can still bite." The general keyed new orders, deploying reserve cruisers to bolster their blockade against the desperate human remnants. "Send the 3rd Beta Ship Division to these coordinates to crush their guerrilla attacks for good. I sense their true counterattack has yet to reveal itself. We must be patient." The sub-commander hastened to carry out his orders. Left alone, the general touched a slender appendage to his lower thorax, where synth flesh knit a new injury. The human ship that had breached his cruiser's defenses had been manned by a singular pilot, reckless, daring, heedless of his own life. The general had barely escaped with his own. He flexed his wounded thorax, a lesson etched into flesh. Such warriors could never be underestimated. A priority alert appeared suddenly on the holo panel. "General! A human vessel has just exited warp near our blockade. By the spawning pools, the energy signature is off the charts. It's weapons." The frantic message terminated abruptly as a white-hot plasma beam, visible even from the moon, sliced across space to cleave the sub-commander's ship cleanly in two. Alarm klaxons wailed throughout the lunar command center. So the human's great gambit was revealed. The general studied the energy scans of the strange vessel as it blitzed through his blockade with contemptuous ease, shrugging off direct hits. A primitive species, yet capriciously inventive. But no matter. The humans had taken their best shot and been found wanting. Now the counterstroke would end them, once and for all. The general opened a channel to begin charging his species' most terrible weapon. Within minutes, the insolent human ship would be so much dissipated molecular dust, along with the hopes of its doomed race. Let them rage against extinction if they must. The void hears no screams. Soon there would be only silence where once humanity clawed for life. General Akira gritted his teeth as another detonation rocked the vanguard. The experimental warp fighter had shredded the first wave of alien cruisers with ease. But now the invaders were wise to its weapons, evading the AI-guided plasma beams and retaliating with swarms of attack drones. Warning sirens blared as a drone lodged itself into the Vanguard's unshielded engine. Akira pounded the console in frustration. The illegal AI he'd installed was holding up against the alien info warfare attacks, but he hadn't counted on old-fashioned kamikaze drones. "Sir, that last hit took out Weapons Array 2 and damaged the warp core initializer," reported his co-pilot. "Recommend we withdraw and regroup with the Luna task force." Akira shook his head. "No, the aliens outnumber us too heavily there. We must press on to the flagship and take out their general before his superweapon is online." They both knew it was a suicide mission now, but it was Earth's only hope. As Vanguard limped towards the towering alien flagship, Akira gazed sadly at the floating wreckage of the brave fleet that had accompanied them. So many lost friends and thousands more on Earth if he failed today. His sacrifice would not be in vain. "Evasive maneuvers, now!" barked Akira, as the flagship's gun spoke in anger, vast beams cutting across space towards them. The co-pilot gasped as he tried to corkscrew the crippled ship away, but it was too late. With terrible finality, two massive plasma beams intersected across Vanguard's hull. Akira saw the glow of the approaching molten wreckage a split second before his world went white. Then only silence. Captain Davis peered anxiously through his scope as the huge alien superweapon drifted into view above the lunar horizon. That could only mean one thing. The alien general had decided to stop playing around. With their hit-and-run tactics, Davis and his troops had bought all the time they could. But it hadn't been enough. General Akira's task force had fatally underestimated the aliens and paid the price. Now there was no one left to stop the superweapon from vaporizing them all. Davis felt tears pricking his eyes that instantly turned to steam in his suit. So this was how it ended. Not with a bang, but cooked inside an uncaring spacesuit by remote alien shitheads light years away. Over the still functioning comm, he heard his troops' frightened murmurs and prayers. They were just men and women, not heroes, afraid to die so far from home. Davis blinked rapidly, then opened the general channel. "All right, Alpha Team, this is it. We always knew this day might come, but take pride in how we bloodied these alien freaks. Now let's stare death in its ugly face together. It's been an honor to serve with you all. Signing off." Through the hot tears brimming in his helmet, Davis thought he saw a streak of light pierce the weapon just as it was about to fire. The massive alien ship convulsed like a living thing in its death throes. Davis blinked. Could it be? Out of the expanding debris cloud flew a single broken ship. It was the Vanguard. Davis felt his heart swell in his chest. General Akira had done it. He'd piloted his ship right into the heart of the superweapon just as it fired. The old soldier's final defiant act had saved them all. Akira's noble sacrifice would not be in vain. Davis swore right then that no matter what, he would survive and see this invasion ended for good. Humanity would live to fight another day. The battle may be lost, but the war had just begun. Captain Davis took cover behind a lunar boulder as plasma fire rained down around him. The battle was a chaotic melee, with human and alien troops clashing among the gray dust and craters. General Akira's brave sacrifice had destroyed the alien superweapon along with their flagship, but the invaders still had superior numbers and were pressing their advantage against the battered human defenders. Davis primed a plasma grenade and hurled it into a cluster of insectoid aliens, buying his squad precious seconds. He checked his scanner. The alien general's energy signature was coming from that command cruiser anchored near the horizon. This is our chance, Davis thought. Cut off the snake's head and the body will wither. Charlie squad with me, he shouted over the din. We end this today. They advanced towards the command ship under covering fire. Davis felt adrenaline singing through his veins. Ever since losing Lieutenant Tanaka and the others, he had thought only of vengeance. Now the reckoning was at hand. The bulkhead hatch crunched open under concentrated fire. Davis and his squad poured through, weapons blazing. They were met by shrieking aliens, but their fury carried them through. Corridor by corridor they advanced until the bridge loomed before them. Davis paused before the sealed door, the weight of this moment suddenly crashing down on him. So much sacrificed, so many lost. His heart pounded against his ribs. "Breach it, for Earth," he said quietly. With a muffled crump, the door exploded inward. Davis was the first one through, firing from the hip as he broke left. In the chaos, he spotted the alien general pressing himself against a wall panel. Davis pivoted his rifle towards the cringing general. His finger tightened on the trigger, then held. Up close, he was surprisingly frail, pathetic. Killing him now would be mercy. "No, today we prove our humanity," Davis said coldly. "You will stand trial for your crimes." The general hesitated, then appeared to sag in resignation. But Davis caught a flicker in the alien's bulbous eyes a split second before he reacted. "Trap!" Davis yelled. But too late. A hidden plasma orb set above the door exploded. He felt his armor boil away, then a cold deeper than space embraced him as the air rushed away. The last thing Davis saw as he fell into the endless void was the Earth rising over the lunar horizon, wreathed in light, impossibly beautiful. "I'm coming home," he thought. The Prime Minister stood somberly as the crowds chanted Captain Davis's name. Though the alien general had perished in his act of desperation, Davis too had made the ultimate sacrifice. A high cost, but Earth was saved. "He gave everything to turn the tide for us," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "Now we must honor that debt, rebuild, and be ready. Something darker than we can imagine yet lurks out there among the stars. But together, humanity will face it when it comes." The crowds cheered, their spirits rising like the first rays of dawn after a long night. Though bearing grievous wounds, life still flowed. Earth would heal in time. Above, the moon shone bright against the blackness of space, a steady reminder that humanity was not alone, and never would be again. But they had faced the darkness and prevailed. This was only the beginning.